Now, some people are going to ask, are you going to see Eddington? I might. Are you going to see Smurfs? Don't count on it. No, don't count on that at all. Though, you can't expect to be surprised, but still, I would not recommend counting on that.
Off to see the Smurfs. Please don't be a blue turd. Yeah, I'm ready to party! What the Smurf? On the bright side, at least I don't have to pay for these movies. I always get free tickets.
Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it is going to be on Smurfs. Now, in my last video, I said I was probably not going to go and see this movie or review it. Well, I learned a very valuable lesson that day. If you say you're not going to go see something and end up going to see it, you might as well just say nothing at all and just let the comments ask you if you're going to go see it, and you could just tell them no. It's simple as that. And I promise never to do something like that again. You might as well just skip to the end because you already know how I feel about this movie. So much so that I won't even have one of my picture shirts on. I won't even have my hat on that I would usually use when I'm filming these reviews at home. No, because I don't think this movie deserves it. Nope. Yeah, but anyways, let's get into it. So Smurfs is a new attempt at bringing the Smurfs back to the big screen. Instead of this being by Sony, it's by Paramount. They're getting a chance now. And Rihanna is Smurfette. They have shown that in the trailer and the poster and all that, showing Rihanna's Smurfette, Rihanna's Smurfette. Like we're supposed to go, oh, Rihanna's Smurfette? Oh, God tier casting choice. Just like, oh man, that's got to be the best casting choice since ever. I know that's probably trying to appeal to the people who are into music to get people to see the movie, but yeah, whatever. Rihanna's Smurfette, and it focuses on this young Smurf named, well, he doesn't have a name because he's called No Name because he has no special power whatsoever. And when Papa Smurf gets taken by not Gargamel, but his short little brother, Razamel or whatever, and Smurfette and the rest of the Smurfs got to go rescue him. And Gargamel supposedly is wanting to see his brother again, but blah 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 blah, blah you. Oh man. So yeah, when it comes to bringing the Smurfs to the big screen, it doesn't always end so well. Sure, the Raja Gasnell movies might have done well. I know the first movie did. I forgot how the second movie did. But yeah, because those movies were so bad that they had to make another movie that wasn't part of that canon in 2017 with Smurfs: The Lost Village, and not really winning over everyone, they decided to try again. And look, when it comes to trying to bring a popular cartoon into full animation form into a new movie, a lot of that has been working recently. Ninja Turtles, Transformers 1. Transformers 1 was so good, it's pretty much the greatest Transformers movie ever made. And it's a shame most people didn't see that movie because now we're not going to get another movie. But that's okay, because apparently Michael Bay is coming back. Oh, wow, yay. Society is just... what is going on? Now look, I know right off the bat that this movie wasn't made for me. It was made for kids. I could also say Smurf fans as well, but there isn't a thing about this movie that I can say is remotely good enough for its source material that fans will absolutely fall in love with it. I remember watching the original classic cartoon. It was so creative and inventive, and it took Peyo's inspiration to life, and it delighted people of many ages. And yeah, the fact that we're living in a time where Smurfs isn't as popular anymore, maybe this movie could, bring in that same blue power back. Yeah, it didn't because you knew that I wasn't going to like this movie. You knew that I was probably going to give it a bad rating. You knew that I was just going to do nothing but criticize this movie. But there is just almost nothing about this movie that I can remotely say is worth the price of admission. As I was watching the movie, I was just thinking, why wasn't this on Paramount Plus? This feels generally like it should have just been streamed to Paramount Plus. Now, look, let's get into the voice actors. Like I said before, be honest, Smurfette, I got nothing against the woman. She does have a really nice voice. She does make really good songs. I'm just confused why Hollywood always has to cast in pop stars to play Smurfette because I don't know, it's because Smurfette sings. But I'm sorry, while I was watching the movie, I did not feel like I was listening to Smurfette. I felt like I was listening to Rihanna. Hell, she has a song in the movie that she sings with the other Smurf because, he's feeling bad, so she tries to lighten up the mood. And hell, there are songs in the movie as well, but thankfully there are two main ones, but none of them are memorable, even when they try to be. They're just very cliche. And yeah, let's talk about the big Smurf of the movie, the one that has no name whatsoever, played by the legendary and oh so incredible James Corden. I'm sorry, is this guy still being cast in movies despite his reputation? Because pretty much nobody I know of is a fan of James Corden. Just like, yeah, but he was not. I feel like when it comes to his voice acting work and the fact that he works on movies in general, it just does not seem to appeal. He did not do that in 2017 with the incredible. I'm not even going to say the name of that film. And of course, Cats and all that. It's it's clear that he's mostly just in just for a paycheck. Not just so he can delight the world with his charming appeal because, well, it just isn't because... And of course, let's talk about the storyline. Well, I can't really talk about the storyline because it's done in many other movies that just does not feel remotely interesting or engaging whatsoever. Not enough to keep the parents like, oh, I see what you're doing there, while the kids are all like, yay, Smurfs! All that this movie really does is just take a story recycled from a fairy tale or another really solid animated film and just add it into the movie while also adding in a message of you're you and you still have good in you and you can still do good things even if you don't feel like you can do anything. Like, it just feels so forced while also trying to add in this story of Gargamel's brother. Yes, Gargamel isn't the main villain, but his brother. He was irritating to get through. I mean, if you're gonna have another Smurfs movie, you might as well just have Gargamel play the villain instead of his brother or whatever. Hell, Papa Smurf in the movie also has a brother named Ken, and all I could really think about was Ryan Gosling randomly singing the song because I felt like that would have made the movie somewhat more appealing if they just made that reference. But no, they have a bunch of other pop culture references that just don't fit in, and the fact that this is a new, modernized Smurfs film, it's going to be a shame that kids today might be introduced to Smurfs by this movie and the movies that came before it, and not that classic cartoon that was so engaging and so endearing and so popular that it became a franchise of its own. No, it's just a shame because, well, the jokes, all of it feels written by AI. There's not a single joke in this movie that remotely lands whatsoever. And yes, they say Smurf quite a bit in this movie, though not as often as I expected. The biggest amount of times they say Smurf is when Smurfette is arguing with the Ken Papa Smurf Redbeard guy, and there's just trying Smurf that, Smurf this, you're a freaking Smurf or whatever, trying to replace curse words with Smurf. And hell, there are lots of times where they're just trying to censor out swear words. like a turtle saying "what the shell" 2 times, and hell, by the end of the movie, that Smurf, that no, yes, I'm talking about spoilers, but it's at this point where I don't really feel like most people are going to care. So yeah, by the end of the movie, the no one Smurf gets like these magic powers, and originally he wanted to call himself Kick-Ass Smurf, but they censor out the word ass because that sound effect, one of the Smurfs, which is a sound effect Smurf, censors it. And no, that's not what he's called. He's called Magic Smurf. And I didn't feel anything when it got into these moments of power and whatsoever because it was all done many times already, and the movie just felt lazy. It's probably the biggest, laziest excuse you can make a Smurfs movie since those Raja Gosnell films, but at least AI wasn't as big of a thing yet because this movie just it just feels so noticeable when it comes to its writing. I get that it's made for kids, but when you're making a kids movie released in theaters, the fact is, parents take them to see these movies. You should at least make it so at least the parents could get some enjoyment out of them, like just a few like in jokes or whatever. At least have them be smart and not all over the place. But hey, when I went to go see the movie, kids were clearly enjoying it because they were just clapping and all. And I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I really shouldn't have seen this movie because this is probably the worst experience I've had in a movie all year, just due to the fact that there were many kids. One was talking over and over and over and over, and it was hard for me to move seats because there were kids in every other single area. Yeah, this is why this movie should have just been a Paramount Plus exclusive. It shouldn't be a big screen released film because there's almost nothing to this movie that feels like it's worth the price of admission. The only time I would say it's worth the price is that there's like a 3-minute SpongeBob short, and once that short's over, you might as well just leave because after that, the rest of the movie is just nothing but dull jokes and just a generic story that won't have anything remotely interesting. Just a forced-in message that we've seen plenty of times before, and big-name voice actors playing these classic characters alongside the no-name Smurf, and just adding in these moments of just trying to, like, I don't even know how to put it, because by the end of the movie, I just thought to myself, what was the point of this? I thought I Know What You Did Last Summer was lazy in terms of trying to bring something back, but this movie just felt even lazier, and I'm just amazed. And this movie's directed by Chris Miller, and I hope that doesn't mean Christopher Miller, who partnered up with Phil Lord to give us that incredible Lego movie, that incredible Spider-Man movie, and that really entertaining Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movie. But thankfully it wasn't. He's just called Chris Miller. So that's excusable. Now, is there anything about this movie I can say positive about? Yes, there is. There are some nice pieces of animation here and there, not all the time, but some of it looked pretty nice. And that's it. Look, guys, it's clear that kids were far more entertained with this movie, but if I were a parent, I would just let them stay home and watch a cartoon about a blue character that had no use of AI whatsoever, had actual talent behind the writing, characters, dialogue, animation, and music. You know which one I'm talking about. Now, you know what? I'm not going to make a joke of that, Bluey. You obviously know I was going to say Bluey. What else was I going to say? But in the end, guys, Smurfs is probably the laziest attempt at a Smurfs movie in quite some time. Give Lost Village this. At least it tried. And at least that's the type of movie that I feel like fans can defend, because there are elements to that movie that at least made it feel more like a Smurfs movie. This just felt like an AI-generated Smurfs movie that had absolutely no talent behind it, even when it does have good actors in it, minus James Corden. It just doesn't feel like it was trying to do anything but try to, bring the Smurfs back, when really, the Smurfs really isn't as big of a thing as it was back then, because I don't remember there being any major big Smurf things coming out recently in terms of like streaming and all that, but if there was, it would probably be better than this. I was just so amazed and how shocked of how much low effort was put into this. And what was the point of the live action sequences? There's no human characters they interacted with, but you know what? That's probably a good thing. So maybe that's another positive, but minus that, there's really nothing about this movie that's remotely going to satisfy fans of the Smurfs. It's lazy, it's cliched, it's clearly made just so, it can bring newcomers into the Smurfs franchise when it was an old thing back then, but still, it feels like a Paramount Plus streaming film that is being released in theaters when it just should have been a Paramount Plus streaming film to begin with. There is absolutely nothing remotely satisfying about this Smurf load of Smurf. Oh yeah, and there's a mid-credit scene that indicates a sequel. No. No. Well, we all know Superman's gonna top the box office, so yeah. Eddington is gonna be next, though. Eddington will definitely be next, I promise you that. I just saw this because... I don't know, maybe I like wasting my time. Or I don't know, maybe it's because I need more views for this channel, because it's clear these types of videos, they get more of the views. So, there you go. But, yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video and maybe subscribe for more. You can also follow me on Twitter or Instagram or maybe Blue Sky. Give me a follow if you can, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.